Sometimes keeping secrets is a safety thing. You don't have to tell everybody everything about you. Hey, beautifuls. Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about secrets. Can you keep one? Most people do. Most people are keeping around a dozen secrets at any given time. And this episode is brought to you by a 2022 copy of Psychology Today that I had in my collage supplies. You can't put a psychology magazine in front of me and expect me not to read it. So as I was looking for pretty pictures, I was also reading articles, and I stumbled across this research into secrecy, why we keep the secrets we do, what kind of secrets we keep, and what keeping secrets does to us psychologically and even physically. Like, this is a whole physiological thing going on. So we're going to jump into it. First of all, we're going to talk about my dumbass OCD, because being honest is good. Being honest is morally correct. Being honest is right, which my brain took to mean you must always be as honest as possible all the time. So like if a stranger asks me something like, how's your day going? I know that the small talk response is like, oh, good, fine, how are you? Good day, nice weather. But man, sometimes my brain is like, no, you should be honest. You should tell them like what's going on. And I'm like, I'm really hot and sweaty actually, Pam, because I'm in the Circle K trying to get a drink. Pam doesn't care. Well, maybe Pam cares. I can't assume that Pam doesn't care. If I were like a cashier, I would be genuinely interacting with people all day. That's what I did when I was a cashier. I have been a cashier in the past. Fun fact, it's not for me anymore because customers are mean. 2026, we're just getting meaner and meaner out there. I think that's related to like the more individualistic technical term, like the rugged individualism, right? Where it's like every man for himself. You don't owe anybody else anything. Like, okay, but we kind of do. I think I've said before on this, on the podcast that if somebody was like, oh, do you live around here? I would point to my house and be like, yes, I live right there. I leave the door unlocked when I walk the dog. That's not safe. Sometimes keeping secrets is a safety thing. You don't have to tell everybody everything about you. You don't have to tell people where you live. You don't have to prove yourself in any way to most people. You know, I guess if you're at the library, they're going to want to see your library card. But beyond that, you don't have to tell them your whole life story. So I got into that little nice black and white thinking that if I am a good person, I must be an honest person, and that honesty must be all encompassing. You're either honest or you're not. Meanwhile, in normal human brains, nuh-uh. Like, you can be an honest person. You can prioritize honesty in your relationships without putting your entire life story on a billboard for the sake of honestly and transparently existing. Secrecy is normal. Some secrecy is, in fact, like a safety issue, like I mentioned. So this fixation on all honest or you're being dishonest is part of what led to my burnout. Because, you know, posting on social media and trying to write and trying to do this podcast and talk to everybody, I got into this loop of thinking, well, if I'm going to talk about any perspective I have, like I need to beat this dead horse even further to death so that I have captured every possible nuance. Otherwise, I'm lying and dishonest and bad. Okay, this is exhausting. It is not sustainable. It is also not normal. And one of the, I guess, side effects of kind of isolating myself from normal, average, everyday people is that I surround myself with fellow autistics, fellow people who do not mask or who are unlearning their masking. I hang around a lot of people who know about psychology and are in therapy and regularly mess with their own trauma, like people who do the work and understand things. So I have a lot of like really high level discussions with people I know about brains and cognition and coping skills and nervous system regulation. And most people are talking about the game last night. You know, somebody's like, hey, did you see that that awesome pass in the game last night. And I'm like, did you know that you are probably keeping upwards of 12 or 13 secrets right now? No, because that's fucking weird. And you shouldn't say that in an elevator to anybody. Okay? Bring it back, Caitlin. So 2022 is when I first read this article, but I went and found like the research paper and everything, which we will link in the show notes because I cite my sources. Researchers identified 36 common secrets that people tend to keep. And any given person is generally keeping around a dozen secrets at any given time. So there are 36 common secrets, right? And, some of them are about affairs or pregnancy or like other stuff. And so I have never had to keep a pregnancy secret. Therefore, that's not on my list. My 12 secrets are something different. And in fact, I should have gone through the list and been like, am I keeping any secrets about this or this or this or this or that? The answer is probably no, because I just love to walk around like a raw little nerve with all the parts of me exposed so that you can see right through me. I'm working on it. We are secretifying the Caitlin, okay? I'm learning to cope. I'm learning to be a person. And part of learning to be a person is that I'm going to read Psychology Today and imagine, okay, what if somebody's reading this who's totally normal and they don't ever think about brains and they don't ever think about neuroplasticity or nervous system regulation or complex trauma? They're just living their life and then they read this article and they're like, oh, I never thought about how many secrets most people have. It's totally normal to have secrets. This now validates my experience as a human person. Cool. Do. And then me, the brain in charge of learning about the brain, who can't stop learning about the brain. I'm haunted by metacognition. I read this and I'm like, oh, I can chill way the fuck out. Because it's almost like the more I learn about psychology, the more I hold myself to like an impossible standard of being like, well, now that I understand the functions of normies, I can ascend and be a solely moral creature of energy and light. Like, I don't know what the point of all this thinking about my thinking is. And I think as far as the OCD is concerned, it is to make sure that I'm being a good person and I'm being the best person I can be. That's stressful. For most people, doing their best is like a vibe. But for me, I want to make it a checklist. I want to make it a rubric. I want to be like, did you really try hard enough? Because science says that you could try harder. So I'm in this nice little place where I am unpacking the weird shit I have put my brain through as I learn about it and reminding myself like, hey, you're just a normal person too. You're just a little guy living your life. You go to work, you go to the grocery store, you walk your dog. Like, I'm just living a life. So why do I feel like having any kind of secrecy or dishonesty makes me a bad person? No, you know who's a bad person? I can't even say things anymore because I'll get put on a list and thrown in jail for 100 years. But the president is a pretty bad person. He lies right to your face. I don't do that. I think I need to recalibrate my own goalposts. But let's get back into secrecy. So we generally have about a dozen secrets, and keeping a secret itself does not cause harm. But it can definitely cause harm if you are ruminating on the secret and the secret is bringing up negative feelings like shame, isolation, and just, guilt over keeping the secret in general. That rumination is what causes distress and can even cause physiological issues like fatigue. Like keeping a secret can have a physical impact on you, which is nuts. Okay, so the research that we're going to get into was done by Michael Slepian, I'm not sure, Slepian, Michael Sleepy, and Alex Koch. And Dr. Michael there wrote a book called The Secret Life of Secrets. There's a website. You can go look at the book. I kind of want to read this book now because if I'm this invested in like a 2-page article in Psychology Today, reading the whole book is going to just fascinate me all the way down. So some fun things to learn about secrets. One, secrecy is defined in this research as an intention, not an action. So you have to want to keep something secret in order for it to be a secret. Otherwise, it's just like if you didn't mention that, it doesn't mean necessarily that you're keeping a secret. Like part of what makes a secret is the intention to conceal it. So then we get into like this list of our 36 most common secrets, which I then grouped into like 4 main categories. And there were some that didn't really fit anywhere. There's like, I don't know, 2 or 3 or 4 like floating secrets that I was like, yeah, those don't really fit neatly in my categories. So I'm just going to let them float. But the most secrets were found in relationships. So these secrets include sexual behavior, right? Kinks. I'm not going to kink shame. I just want to kink ask why. A lot of people keep their kinks secret from everyone / from partners, right? Like very early in a relationship. If you're like, nah, I don't want them to know that I'm into weird stuff, you're going to keep that a secret until such a time that you have the trust and you feel comfortable divulging that secret, which can then really build trust and also gives people who have been together for decades new things to do, honestly. You don't get bored if you keep doing new adventures. Anybody who talks about how sex gets boring is not talking enough. That's what I think. Okay, so sexual behavior, extra relational thoughts, so thinking about cheating, romantic desire, family. So under relationships, I'm including like different types of relationships here. Emotional infidelity, work cheating, no sex. So if you don't have sex with your partner, there can be shame there. You might keep that a secret. Romantic discontent, so general unhappiness in your romantic life. Sexual infidelity, a hidden relationship. A hidden relationship can also give you like a little boost. It can give you something exciting that you're keeping a secret. But then if that hidden relationship is also cheating, then you're going to have like the shame of cheating next to the excitement of a new relationship, which is complicated and is your choice, I guess. I don't think you should cheat on people. But hey, there's a reason these are the most common secrets, right? Having another woman or man or being the other woman or man, and the binary was included in the research. Sexual orientation makes sense, right? It's safer to be closeted. Marriage proposal is a secret. That is one of the ones that doesn't cause distress so much as it causes like some intrinsic motivation and like joy when you think about that secret that you're going to be proposing to your partner. And then also pregnancy and abortion are secrets that people keep. Pregnancy is often kept a secret in the first trimester because people don't want to announce the pregnancy and then miscarry, and miscarriage is most common in the first trimester, etc. And then also there's a lot of social stigma around abortion. So people may keep having an abortion secret, especially if they were already keeping a pregnancy secret. The next category, and again, these are just Caitlin categories. I didn't pull these categories out of the research. I just went down the list and grouped them. So my second grouping here is dishonesty and violation. And these secrets are lying, a violation of trust, theft, other harm or other crime, doing something illegal. And then we have social secrets, ambitions. So maybe you are secretly not ambitious, or maybe you secretly have ambitions that you don't want to share with people. Finances, huge thing that people keep secret. Finances was way up there on the list. Social discontent, a hobby. Maybe you're like, oh, I don't want them to know I like anime or Pokemon or knitting. I don't know. Some people keep their hobbies a secret. Being counter-normative in any way. So if you are the odd person out in your office, like everybody thinks this one way and you don't, you're more likely to keep that a secret. So preferences, belief and ideology, unhappiness at work, and secrets around your employment status. I've seen a handful of Reddit stories, like, am I the asshole, this or that, of people who lose their job and then are too ashamed of losing their job to tell their spouse or partner. And so they leave the house every day like they're going to work, but they just go to a park and apply to jobs or something. So employment, and that's related to finances. Anything work related, really, we keep a secret because our society is very focused on employment and work and money. And then there's the health category, which is physical pain or discontent, mental health issues, addiction, self-harm, trauma, drug use. Those are also things that we tend to keep secret. So let's see, what secrets do I keep? I don't keep a lot of secrets, you guys. I tell you most things. If you ask me, I'll tell you. So researchers also determined that there are 3 main dimensions to a secret. And so like the way that they did this study was they got a bunch of people and then they were like, here's common secrets, group them, organize them, categorize them. And then the way that people put things together indicated that there are 3 like axes on which people are like judging the intensity of these secrets. So the first one is morality or immorality. Like, is this secret a moral issue? If you are keeping something that is immoral a secret, that is going to evoke more shame. Our second dimension is relationality. Is the secret related to an intimate relationship? Secrets low in relationality evoke the most social isolation. So if this secret keeps you from people, you will continue isolating yourself over it because it makes you feel othered. Meanwhile, maybe you're keeping a secret to protect someone you love. That secret is not going to cause as much distress because it is based in that relationship and protecting it, so you feel good about it. And then the third dimension is it goal-oriented? So like, is there a reason? Is this related to a desired outcome? And secrets that are low in goal orientation evoke the most uncertainty. So we can see here, these are now like the harmful bits is shame, isolation, and uncertainty are what cause us to ruminate on a secret. And the rumination is where it can get harmful. It can become like a form of self-harm to ruminate on your secrets. So a quote from the study is, several studies show that the more frequently people's minds wander to their secrets, the more those secrets harm their well-being. So it's the game. When you think about the game, you lose the game. And when you think about your secrets, you feel bad. Hooray! Science. So we get increased feelings of shame, isolation, uncertainty, inauthenticity, and these make us feel bad, right? This leads to lower satisfaction with life overall, increased anxiety, loneliness, and also the researchers found that these symptoms and results are pretty culturally universal. So this is happening like regardless of background, etc. I didn't get super into like the demographic numbers on where all of the test subjects like came from. I would be interested in seeing if there are any like cultural divides, but they did report in this write-up that it was culturally universal, the feelings of shame and isolation, etc. So how do we unburden ourselves from this super stressful crap? We want to share this burden with somebody. We want to share the secret. And we can share it by confessing it to the person we're keeping it from, or we can confide in someone who is a third party and not involved in the secret. That one, I'm going to say, pretty freaking healthy. Confiding results in better coping and less rumination because you have now found a social support. So people prefer to confide in someone who is compassionate, empathetic, non-judgmental, but also somebody who is assertive and will help push the person keeping the secret toward a helpful or positive action. And then the confidant also feels an increased sense of closeness and trust with the person keeping the secret. So keeping people's secrets builds trust, like boosts a relationship. And this is like really important. This is one of those things where, you know, like there are some things that you don't talk to your partner about. You go talk to your therapist. Like not every thought you have in frustration or whatever about your partner is for them. Sometimes you got to go to the girly group chat. Sometimes you got to talk to your therapist. Sometimes you got to do this other stuff. It's also similar to, like parents coping with their kid coming out as trans or queer, where the parents, you are allowed to have complicated feelings. If you always thought you were going to walk your daughter down the aisle and now that daughter is your son, it's normal for you to be like, I'm disappointed. I don't get the thing I've been looking forward to. That is not your kid's problem, though. That is for a confidant. Okay? That is for your therapist. That is for somebody compassionate who will help you process, not your kid. And it's the same thing like when something is a problem, like in your intimate relationship, yes, you need to talk to your partner about it, but you might need to talk to somebody else first. Maybe when you're like really mad about the thing that happened, you're going to call up your sister and vent, or you're going to call your mom and get her ideas, or you're going to go to therapy and talk it out. And this way you can come into the conversation with your partner like already oriented for solutions, already having processed like your raw emotions. So now you can just be there for your partner, because when you bring up this issue with them, they're also going to have feelings. They are reacting too, but you've already handled your feelings. So now they get to have theirs, and you get to be the calm, cool presence that has already done this. And then you work on the problem together. So what we're not going to do is keep secrets and keep secrets and keep secrets and then blow up and be resentful about it. You gotta process your secrets, okay? Process them. How to keep a secret without hurting other people. Because this is the main thing. You can keep any kind of secret, but when it starts hurting somebody else, or it's something that like somebody else really needs to know. Another great example here is like you find out that somebody is cheating on your friend, right? Your friend's partner is cheating on them. You saw them out and about. You literally saw it with your own eyes. Do you tell your friend, or do you decide that's not my business? If it were me, I would want you to tell me. Don't keep that a secret, because now you are keeping a harmful secret from me. Like that's important information I need to know as a person being cheated on, that like my relationship is not what I thought it was, and I have a decision to make. So please don't withhold that from somebody. In most cases, they're going to be really appreciative. And if they are not appreciative, it is because they are in denial, probably, because they don't want it to be true. A lot of times somebody will blame you for being the one to tell them. That doesn't mean it was bad of you to tell them that secret. That just means that that secret hurt them and they killed the messenger, right? Or they shot the messenger. I know metaphors. I say them all the time. So keep a secret if it's not hurting anybody. Go back to the morality of it all and such. But actually, here's 3 questions to ask yourself if you are keeping a secret. So along with this research, they tested 300 participants and had them do a thought exercise where they thought about their secret and then considered there's no harm in having this secret. This secret protects someone I know. I have a good understanding of this secret. So if you can ask yourself those 3 questions and you know that there's no harm, it's protecting someone, and or you understand the reason for it, right? Like keeping something top secret clearance, that's a secret that you keep. Important, pretty important, right? They trust you at work. That's good, actually. So people who did this exercise reported less rumination and a better overall mood for the following week. So just sitting with the secret and being like, okay, is this secret hurting anyone? If it is, maybe you tell somebody. Does this secret protect someone? If it does, cool. You will experience less shame when you recognize that, and like routinely engage with it too, because it takes a while to interrupt a pattern. And if you're used to shaming yourself for keeping secrets, it's going to take a minute for you to stop shaming yourself for keeping secrets. Okay, that was it. I just wanted to tell you about secret keeping. Please upload this into your next human operating system update overnight so that you know it's normal to keep secrets and you don't have to act like me and think that any secret at all makes you a bad person. Hooray! Happy day. I'll see you guys next time.
Don't change your approach and tell you a joke to lighten your load and help you along or sing you a song. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do.